Hey guys, welcome to the Simplify Your Life podcast. It's Coach Simona, and I'm glad you decided to tune in. What's up, everyone? In today's podcast episode, we're going to talk about how to stop running away from your problems. And I will share with you the key to taking responsibility and how you can use these strategies to cope with difficult situations in your life. Now let's jump right into it. Alright guys, before we jump into my 5 tips on how to stop running away from your problems, I'm gonna explain to you why you may be struggling with taking responsibility and using distraction as a maladaptive way of coping with your problems. First, let's talk about escapism as an avoidance coping mechanism, which simply means that you're using distractions to escape the unpleasant reality by seeking entertainment or engaging in fantasy. Some people use work as a form of escapism. Others play video games, binge watch Netflix shows or YouTube videos, or use food, drugs, or alcohol to avoid facing reality. There are also a lot of cases of people who dream of going to a magical place, starting fresh, changing their identity, country, or something else in hopes of achieving that better place. Escapism is a form of avoidance coping, which means that it's a maladaptive way of coping with reality. It may numb the pain for a little while, but the problem still lies underneath the surface, and it will come back to haunt you until you're ready to face it. Some problems become even bigger when we ignore them for a long time, so it's important to learn some adaptive ways of coping with them. Instead of avoiding taking responsibility, we can learn how to face reality and take action. And in this episode, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. Before we get into my tips on active coping, I'll briefly share with you why I'm so familiar with escapism and what made me record this podcast episode in the first place. As a person who struggled with anxiety almost their entire life, I know what it's like to have constant nightmares, overthink everything, and imagine the worst-case scenarios. I'm also no stranger to running away from your problems. In fact, I've used escapism in almost all the forms I mentioned before. The hardest addiction to get over was probably using education to escape addressing my feelings. That's right. If you're binging self-help content, or you're taking hundreds of courses for the sake of improving yourself, you may have fallen in the trap that I have. The trap of constantly seeking reassurance that you're doing the right thing or you're going somewhere. The problem is that even if you know the best strategies and have the best mentors in the world, if you don't take action on the things you've learned, you're simply fooling yourself. You're not going to get somewhere just by watching videos or reading books. You need to implement the things you've learned, make mistakes, get comfortable with being uncomfortable, and start taking responsibility for your actions. Now, like I said, escapism is something I'm pretty familiar with, and I've discovered some active coping skills that can help you get out of avoidance and take your power back. Now, what is active coping? In contrast to avoidance coping, which is all about escaping reality and avoiding facing your problems, with active coping, you're addressing the stress rather than attempting to avoid it. There are 2 ways of active coping. Active cognitive coping, which involves changing how you think about the stressor, and active behavioral coping that addresses the problem directly. Which actually leads me to my first tip. Increase your self-awareness by observing your thoughts. There is a great tool I use with my clients called the Automatic Thought Record tool that I want to make accessible to everyone. So I made a free downloadable cheat sheet for you guys. You can click the link in the description box below or visit bit.ly/thoughtrecordtool. Now, what does the Automatic Thought Record tool do and how is it related to active coping? It's an active cognitive coping tool, which is a fancy way of saying that it can help you reframe the way you think about your problems. For example, if you're constantly flooded by stressful thoughts of not being able to perform on stage, as a result, you may feel anxious and then avoid addressing the problem. The Automatic Thought Record tool helps you identify those thoughts, track the progression to feeling the negative feelings, and then understand what behaviors you're engaging in as a result. It can help you find a better way to address the situation by substituting the thoughts with healthier alternatives. If you want to dive even deeper into the topic of self-awareness, check out my video on how to become more self-aware. I will leave a link below. Now, after you increase your self-awareness and detach from the unhelpful thoughts, it's time for step number 2. Find a relaxation technique that works for you. One of the best ways to stop running from your problems is to find a way to calm down first. You can't solve your problems if you're constantly feeling agitated, so I advise you to try out different techniques and see what works for you. Here are some suggestions. First, I recommend giving meditation a try. There are many ways to meditate. You can simply close your eyes and take a few deep breaths, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth for 5 or 10 minutes. This is a simple breathing meditation without guidance. Alternatively, there are also great apps that offer guided meditations. My personal favorite, and the one I've been using every single day for the past 1,400 days, is Headspace. And if you want to try out my free guided meditations, I will also link them below. Now, another way of calming yourself down is by doing a progressive muscle relaxation. It's all about tensing your muscles for a few seconds and immediately releasing them. This will help a lot with your anxiety as well. And my third suggestion is practicing mindfulness, which is all about focusing your attention on the present moment. You'll notice all the sensations in your body, the things you hear around you, what you can see, smell, touch, and taste. Engage all your senses to feel more connected to the present moment and tune into your body. Now, my next tip on how to stop running away from your problems is to set a small goal and celebrate your win. One of the reasons you may be struggling with staying grounded and constantly trying to escape from yourself is because you feel overwhelmed with all the goals that you've set for yourself. Or maybe you haven't set enough. Either way, setting a small goal that you can actually achieve will boost your mood and help you focus on the things you can do, rather than the things that are out of your control. For example, you may set a goal of exercising for 5 minutes today. Anyone can do it, right? Now think of a way to celebrate your win after you exercise. It could be anything. Watching one episode of your favorite show or reading a chapter of a book you've been wanting to start. The key here is to turn taking action into something pleasurable and convince your brain that you can do something about your life, instead of waiting around for things to happen to you. Taking responsibility for something as small as exercising can give you a sense of accomplishment. And it will become easier to set bigger goals in the future when you have a track record of setting small ones and achieving them. Are you enjoying this episode so far? If that's the case, you will love my new book, 111 Ways to Simplify Your Life, where I share with you 111 ways to unplug, recharge, declutter, become more mindful, and find out who you were before everyone else told you who you should be. Get your copy now at coachsimona.com/book. Now back to the episode. Step number 4 is to be compassionate with yourself. Oftentimes, when we avoid facing problems, we are actually afraid of our own thoughts and feelings. We are afraid of how mean and critical we are to ourselves. So one of the best ways to start facing your problems is to develop self-compassion. Self-compassion doesn't mean avoiding taking responsibility. It means being comfortable with being wrong, being comfortable with feeling sad, angry, disappointed, anxious, or whatever feeling you've been avoiding so far. Self-compassion means learning to forgive yourself for the actions that led you to the outcomes you're facing right now, and soothing yourself when you're hurting. If you want to dive deeper into the topic of practicing self-compassion, listen to episode 43 next. I will link it below. Tip number 5 is to make a decision and stick to it. Now that you are self-aware, you know which behaviors are keeping you stuck, and you have found better ways to adapt and face your problems, and be compassionate in the process. It's time to work on your self-discipline. It's actually pretty simple. If you say you're gonna do something, do it. If you promise something, keep that promise. Doesn't matter if you make that promise to yourself or someone else. What you need to do here is become responsible and realize that you are the only person who can get you out of the situation that you're currently in. Stop relying on outside approval or someone else to do the work for you. Only you can save yourself from yourself by accepting every aspect of yourself. The key to taking responsibility is owning your choices, behaviors, and feelings. No one else is responsible for the way you react. You can choose to change your attitude anytime. Actually, a great book I read on that topic is Taking Responsibility by Nathaniel Branden. I highly recommend you give it a try. I will link it below. Now, next week's episode is gonna be a special one. I'll be doing a huge giveaway, and I will also have a super interesting guest on the podcast, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. As always, thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please like it, and get your free cheat sheet at bit.ly/thoughtrecord2. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.